What if the first sign of a royal move wasn't something you could see, but something you could smell? Before a single moving van appeared, a heavy, unmistakable odor spread across the area, catching locals off guard and raising questions long before anything became visible. Over the past few days, a steady convoy of tankers, no fewer than 20, has been making repeated trips behind Marsh Farm, unloading what is believed to be nearly 150,000 gallons of liquid manure across the surrounding land. It's an unusual and striking beginning to what is fast becoming one of the most closely watched royal relocations in recent memory. This farmhouse, quietly positioned within the Sandringham estate, is now officially the new residence of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. While the move itself had been widely expected, the way it's unfolding has drawn far more attention than anyone anticipated. The timing has raised eyebrows, the scale of preparation has sparked speculation, and the visible transformation of the property has turned what might have been a routine transition into a developing story that continues to build momentum. The clearest confirmation came earlier this week when 3 large removal vans were seen arriving at Marsh Farm, an unmistakable sign that the relocation is now fully underway. But it's not just their presence that has people talking, it's who is behind them. The company overseeing the move, Gander & White, is known for handling fine art and high-value collections. Their involvement has fueled growing speculation that more than just personal belongings are being transferred. Observers believe that select pieces from Andrew's former residence, including items once displayed at Royal Lodge and possibly connected to the royal collection, are now being carefully installed inside the farmhouse. Yet perhaps the most revealing detail is that this transformation began long before the first van arrived. Over recent months, Marsh Farm has been quietly reshaped. Newly installed wooden security gates now stand at the entrance, an addition that signals a clear shift in the property's status. Inside, teams of workers have been moving with increasing urgency, fitting interiors, laying carpets, repainting rooms, and refining every detail. Outside, landscaping efforts have subtly altered the surrounding grounds. Although the work began earlier in the year, its pace has accelerated dramatically in recent weeks, making one thing clear: this is no longer preparation. It's the final stage of a move that has been building behind the scenes for months. And if the opening moments are anything to go by, this story may still have far more waiting to be revealed. And then came the tankers. Just as the move began to take shape, a new and highly visible phase unfolded behind Marsh Farm. Locals reported tractors and large white tanker vehicles moving in steady rotation, spreading liquid organic manure across the fields directly bordering the property. It didn't appear random, and it wasn't. This is part of a much larger agricultural system introduced in 2018, when King Charles took control of the Sandringham estate and began transitioning it toward fully organic farming. At the heart of that system is a herd of roughly 500 cattle, whose waste is repurposed as natural fertilizer. Through a process known as anaerobic digestion, the manure is broken down and enriched with essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, key elements for maintaining soil health without synthetic chemicals. On paper, it's a textbook example of sustainable farming in action. But what has drawn attention here isn't the method, it's the scale. An estimated 150,000 gallons have been spread over the course of several days, coinciding almost exactly with Andrew's arrival. For some observers, the timing feels almost too precise to ignore. And there's more to come. Earlier this year, in January, planning permission was approved for the construction of a large slurry lagoon on the estate. The proposed structure is said to be comparable in size to 3 Olympic swimming pools and will sit less than a mile from Anber Hall, the residence of the Prince and Princess of Wales. It's a clear indication that this organic transformation is not a short-term adjustment, but part of a long-term strategy reshaping how the estate operates. So while the sudden surge of tanker activity might seem unusual at first glance, it fits into a much broader shift happening behind the scenes. Even so, the visual impact and the timing remain difficult to overlook. For someone long associated with grand spaces and royal formality, this move marks a striking shift in scale and setting. Andrew, who once resided in the 30-bedroom Royal Lodge, is now settling into a 5-bedroom farmhouse at Marsh Farm, surrounded not by manicured privacy, but by working fields, ongoing fertilization, and newly installed security gates. It's a very different environment, and by multiple accounts, not an easy one to adjust to. Reports suggest the move was met with reluctance from the outset. Marsh Farm is significantly smaller than the residences he has occupied for decades, and that reduction has brought practical challenges. Decisions over what to bring and what to leave behind have reportedly been difficult, particularly when it comes to his collection of artwork. While select pieces are being transferred in stages, space constraints mean not everything will make the journey. Even the smallest details hint at the scale of this transition. His well-known collection of teddy bears, once said to number around 72, has reportedly been reduced to just one accompanying him to the new property. On the surface, it may seem like a minor detail, but it quietly underscores the broader reality of downsizing from a vast estate to a far more modest home. The changes extend beyond possessions. Staffing arrangements have also shifted considerably. The full household support system he once relied on is no longer in place. Instead, reports indicate that only limited assistance may be available on an occasional basis, and even that scaled-back arrangement has, according to sources, brought its own frustrations. Taken together, these details paint a picture of a transition that is not just physical, but deeply personal, one defined as much by what's being left behind as by what lies ahead. And then there's the reaction beyond the estate, where the story becomes impossible to ignore. In nearby Kings Lynn, locals haven't held back. Some have made it clear they'd prefer distance from the situation, while others have voiced sharper opinions around accountability and justice. It's not the kind of welcome that fades quietly into the background. It adds another layer of tension to an already closely watched move. What's striking is how all of this has unfolded without a single public word. No appearances, no statements, no acknowledgement from Andrew himself since his return to Wood Farm following police questioning last month. Instead, everything has moved forward out of sight, but with clear intent. Renovations completed, security tightened, farmland actively managed, and now, the relocation itself. And nothing about it feels temporary. Marsh Farm doesn't carry the signs of a short-term arrangement. The scale of the upgrades, the installation of permanent security features, and the careful transfer of personal belongings all point towards something far more lasting. This isn't a stopgap, it's a reset. What that leaves is a striking image. A former senior royal, once firmly at the center of public life, now settling into a quiet farmhouse surrounded by working land, organic farming operations, and a level of isolation that's hard to miss. For many, it might appear peaceful, even privileged. But according to reports and insider accounts, the adjustment has been far from smooth. One word surfaces again and again in those accounts: entitled. And for someone described that way, recognizing the relative comfort of this new reality may not come easily. Yet despite all the moving parts, the preparations, and the speculation, one detail continues to dominate the conversation. Not the removal vans, not the artwork, but the fact that, just days before his arrival, an estimated 150,000 gallons of manure were spread across the fields surrounding his new home. So is this simply a practical step in managing an organic estate, or does it quietly signal something more about where he now stands? What do you think is really going on here, and how do you think he's handling it? Share your thoughts below. And if you want more deep dive stories like this, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what comes next.